Okay, so with the help of Hashem, we want to prepare ourselves for Yom Kippur, and one of the main preparations is to know what is tshuva, and we have the halachot tshuva of the Rambam that is explaining to us how to connect to the concept of tshuva. So first of all, we have to understand that tshuva is tikkun, to rectify something that was done wrong. Okay, and everybody are doing wrong all the time because we are humans. We're not perfect, so all the time, whatever it is that we do, there's always like the positive side of it, and there's also the negative side of it. So for the positive side of it, let it stay as it is, and for the negative side of it, we want to know how to fix that the negativity, that it will not affect us, that it will not affect people around us, that it will not affect the creation of Hashem. So the simple form of tshuva of the Rambam is, it starts with charata, to regret. Okay, that's the first step. So obviously, a person cannot regret something that he's not conscious about. So I would add, as before, like the beginning step before the regret of the Rambam is conscious, to be conscious of whatever it is that we did, whatever is the result of what we did, right? Most of the people, they wouldn't do tshuva because they say, whatever, I did what I did and that's it. Like, just go on with my life. I don't have to worry about it too much. Okay? So let's for example, let's compare that to business. Okay? If somebody have a business company and he made a mistake the way that he listed the company, or the way he did the taxes, or whatever it is, so then comes the end of the year, you have to give his reports, and they tell him, look, like you did the whole thing wrong. Now you have to pay double. Now you have to do this. Now you have to go through this procedure and to bring those papers, this, that, all kinds of different things. And so then it's clear for the person, oh, why I did it this way. I should have consulted like those people that they're experts in this, and I should have do it this way, and right. So then it's clear, because the person, he sees the result immediately of whatever it is that he did. Now the problem for us in the spiritual, that we don't see the result of whatever we did wrong. A person we have unfortunately many people in the world that are doing very wrong, and one of the reasons that they continue to do wrong because they don't see any result of that. So it doesn't harm, and they enjoy themselves, so fine. So the first step is to be conscious of the meaning of what we do and the result of that. Okay? Now, that takes learning, okay, because we don't see that. We don't have the spiritual side to see that. The Arizal, for example, he was able to tell the person, look, what you did, it was damaging this sphira in this world, and now you have to do this amount of fast days, to do this tikkun, whatever it is, to give this amount of zakah. So the Arizal, he had this spiritual side that he was able to see the result of whatever was done wrong. And he could tell the person, this is your tikkun, this is the way to fix it. Right? So, unfortunately, I don't know anyone that is like the Arizal, that is giving people like specific tikkunim in our generation, that tell the person, look, this is what you did, that's what you have to do now. I don't know someone like that around. So what can you do? You don't know. With most of the people, they're not even conscious of what they did. Like you tell the person like what you ate like a couple of days ago, he doesn't remember. Forget about like the sins that you did like a couple of years ago. Who remembers, right? Like the big things maybe, but like there's so many small things, so we don't really remember. So what can we do? So the simple way is to make a general tshuva. Yeah, whatever I did wrong, Hashem, I regret it. I understand that there is results. I don't know exactly what is the results. I don't even remember what I did, but I understand that I did a lot of wrong, and there is a lot of results that are coming out of that, and I regret it. Okay, so that will be the first step. Now, obviously, as much as you can to go into to be more specific, that will be even better. So, for example, the Arizal in his book Sha'ar Ruach HaKodesh is specifying this sin is affecting that world, and that sin is affecting this sphera, and all kinds of nuances, very, very small, a kind of spiritual surgery that it goes into the details of the details, and it tells you this is the point that is affecting. So then there comes along the Ben Ish Chai, for example, and other tzaddikim that are using that system of the Arizal, and they made all kinds of prayers that you read the prayer that they said, and for this sin you read this prayer. So within this prayer, it tells you, I did this sin, and that is the result, and I regret it, and I want to do the tikkun for that, and so on and so forth. So in other words, as much as a person can be specific according to what he knows, according to what he learned, according to what he remembers, that gives a benefit, okay, in the tshuva process. So there is tzaddikim that they recommend you to have a diary, that you write in the diary all what you did, and then you can, when you come to do tshuva in Yom Kippur or anytime you want to do tshuva, so you can read from your diary. I did this, I did that, and so on. And that's obviously makes the confession, the vidui in Yom Kippur, that it will be something that is personal. You have a general confession that everybody reads the same in the Siddur, and that's what most of the people do. But if you add on that, and you have your personal things that you are saying your personal confession for, so that will make it that it will give you higher level of tikkun, and also you will feel more connected to whatever it is that you say. So one of the things that we're missing is the connection between our brain and our heart. That we have we understand a lot of things, but we don't feel so much. Most of the people, our heart is very, very blocked. We manage to build a lot of walls and fences around the heart, not to get harm from anything, and we did such a good work that we don't know how to approach our heart ourselves. So that's a big issue. But as much as you do it personalize your confession, so there is a better chance that you will manage to make some kind of opening channel to reach your heart and to connect to your emotions in Yom Kippur, which is a very big thing. And it's not something that you have to read this prayer and that's it, and that you did your obligation. It's a personal thing. There is prayers in the Siddur, but the general obligation in Yom Kippur is to have confession, to have vidui. How long it is, how many details you have that you say there, that's a personal thing. You can do your thing, you can say your confession, whatever it is that you want to say, and that will be the best you can, and that's fine. But the main thing is that the confession will have also regret in the heart, right? When someone is saying, if somebody hurt you and he tells you, I'm sorry, fine, go ahead, you got my apologize. That's not that doesn't do anything, right? You don't it won't give you any consolation that for whatever he hurt you, right? So when we approach Hashem and we say, Hashem, I'm sorry, so you have to make sure that your sorry is real, that you feel sorry for that, not just to say that. So there is people that will say, okay, but I don't feel that, so now what? Okay, so that's what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to learn, to have some background, to understand why is it that we need to feel sorry for whatever it is that we did wrong. And really, it's not something to do like in the last couple of days before Yom Kippur. It's something that we have to start like in the beginning of Elul. But somebody told me in Erev Rosh Hashanah, he said, I need another Elul to prepare myself to Rosh Hashanah. So it's true, we never prepared. It's like our groom here is about to get married. Is he ready to get married? No one is ready to get married. We prepare ourselves as much as we can to whatever it is that we need to do, and we do it even though we're not prepared. So we do as much as we can. We do the preparation as much as we can. Ad makom shedo magad, as far as your hand reaches, and you say to Hashem, that's what I managed this year, and Bezrat Hashem, I hope to do better, right? But it is important to make this preparation. Whatever it is that you are able to do, that will be very, very significant. Now, within the Halachot Shuvah of the Rambam, going back to our starting point, so obviously we have the preferred way of receiving the atonement according to the Torah is when we have the Bet HaMikdash, we have the sacrifices, right? So then it is much, we have like there's a whole world of halachot, of the way how it should be done, all of the sacrifices, this sacrifice for this sin, that sacrifice for the other sin, and it's very, very clear. You do that, you go to the Bet HaMikdash, you go through this procedure, and boom, you got your tikkun, fine, right? So now when we don't have the Bet HaMikdash, unfortunately, B'ezrat Hashem we have it soon back, but until we have it back, so it is much higher responsibility for us. The demand is much higher from us because we don't have all of those like spiritual technology that is in the Bet HaMikdash that will make sure that we have all of those things done correctly. So basically we do whatever we can, right? We trying to go through the same procedure like it was done in the time of Bet HaMikdash, even though we don't have Bet HaMikdash, and whatever we're not able to do, so we read it in the Torah. Okay, so for example, the whole Seder HaAvodah that we say in the Musaf of Yom Kippur. Yeah, we don't have the Kohen Gadol that will do the whole Seder HaAvodah of Yom Kippur. So we read the text, and there is a concept that is called נשלם על פרים שפתנו, that העוסק בתורת עולה כאילו למעלה עליו כתיב כאילו יקריב עולה. When you're reading the parasha of Olah, for example, it's any one of the sacrifices. When you read it, so in a certain way, it come to fulfill that part that was supposed to be done in the sacrifice itself. Okay, Hashem made it in this way that we are able to do some tikkun verbally when we're dealing with that part. So one time I was asking Rabbi, let's say that somebody doesn't put on tefillin and is reading the parasha of tefillin. Does it count like he did the mitzvah of tefillin? No, it's not. You can't read the parasha of tefillin instead of putting on tefillin, right? So how come it works in the sacrifices? We're reading the parasha of the sacrifice, and then it's like we did the sacrifice. So the simple answer is, again, we do as much as we can. So the tefillin is something that you are able to do, so you do it. But someone, for example, that he doesn't have tefillin, like somebody, whatever, he crashed on an island, he doesn't have tefillin, whatever it is, chas v'shalom, not for anyone. So, okay, so it might be that reading the parasha of tefillin whenever he needs to put on tefillin will make some kind of tikkun instead of putting on the tefillin, because right now he's not able to do that. Okay, so there is a principle like that as well. Anyhow, now we're dealing with Yom Kippur. So we have to, preferably, we want to understand what it is that we read. Yeah, so to learn a little bit about the sacrifices that was done in Yom Kippur, to be able to relate to that while you're reading it, it can make a difference. So it will be a good idea to, for example, to go through the Mishnayot of Masechet Yoma that speaks about Yom Kippur, and to understand what was happening in the Beit HaMikdash. Because if you read the Mishnah of Masechet Yoma, you'll see that a lot of what we are reading in the prayers of Yom Kippur is basically within Masechet Yoma, based on Masechet Yoma, and some portions of the Torah that are related with it. And that's basically the structure of all of the prayers that we do in Yom Kippur. Okay? So to understand how it works, to understand the structure of it, that's something that can give you a benefit to be able to relate to that better again. Now, another point that is important to add on top of that is the concept that is called Yesod HaTshuva. Yeah, there is a famous book of Rabbeinu Yonah, Sharei Tshuva, and the foundation of the book is called Yesod HaTshuva, and the Mishnah Berurah says that you have to know it. When you come into Yom Kippur, you have to know Yesod HaTshuva of Rabbeinu Yonah. So I'll tell you, like in very short, what is Yesod HaTshuva of Rabbeinu Yonah? It means that you have to believe that when you do tshuva, it does the tikkun and Hashem forgives you. Okay? You have to believe that it's real. Many people, they say, okay, I fast in Yom Kippur, I banged on my chest, but does it really does something? Does it really makes a difference? I don't feel that it really makes a difference. So that's exactly the point of the Yesod HaTshuva. If you do whatever it is that you are able to do, you get the atonement of Yom Kippur. Specifically. Also generally in Tshuva, but specifically for Yom Kippur, now that's a subject matter. So to strengthen our faith that it's real. It's not a fake. It's not something that you just like fake it. No. It's something that it's there. There is a whole structure, I call it spiritual mechanic, or spiritual technology, whatever you want to call it. You go through the procedure, you do whatever it is that you can, as much as you can, you put your heart in the words, you relate to that as much as you can with all the background learning that you are able to do, like we said, and that's what you're able to do now, and that will make it. That will give you that moment. That's your Yom Kippur. Okay? And that's you. Hashem, there is another principle that I want to emphasize. It says, Hashem didn't create us to complain about His creation. That's not the purpose of the creation, that Hashem will have something to complain about, right? So Hashem knows that what we are able to do, and when we do whatever it is that we are able to do, so that's it. So we did it, and that's good. That's what Hashem wants from us. Hashem doesn't want from us to be like the Rambam or like Moshe Rabbeinu or like the Arizal or like someone else. Each one of us have the obligation according to himself, according to his level, in that year, in that day, in that moment, whatever it is. And when you do whatever it is that you can do, you did your obligation. You did what Hashem wants you to do, and you get your atonement. You get your forgiveness for Yom Kippur. There is things that the Rambam says that even though a person does them, so Yom Kippur will not give him full atonement until he passed away. Okay, there is things like that. We have to learn why is it so, what is those things, but there is things that it's not enough just to do tshuva and to have Yom Kippur for that. We have to also there's more than that. Yisurim, affliction, and the in the rest case, so it's death. So to in a note about that, there is people that sometimes you have an opportunity. I had like a couple of opportunities like that in my life, that to visit someone on his deathbed, someone that is about to die, that he knows it, everybody knows it, is about to die. And it's a big question, like what do you tell to a person like that, in that state, that is about to die? Like, what can you tell him? So there is people that will say, oh, you remember this, you remember that, all kinds of memories, all kinds of stories. Forget about it. That's like, right now it's not important. There is within death there is a great opportunity to finalize the atonement, to finalize the tikkun for all of the negativity that was done in the person's life. So the important line to remember is Tehe mitatika parati, that my death will be my atonement. Okay, it doesn't have to be like verbally. It can be conceptually, like in the conscious of the person. When a person is about to die, you have to contemplate on accepting Hashem's yoke. Hashem is the king. Hashem controls everything. There's nothing but Hashem, and with my death will come my full atonement. So that will fulfill all of the beginnings that whatever I did of tshuva and tikkunim that I had through my life. And people look at it as something that is sad and scary, but it's a big joy. It's a big joy. It's not something that is sad and scary, because death is part of life, and everybody knows that it's coming. We like to ignore it, but everybody knows that it's coming. And when it comes, if it's done correctly, when a person is living this world in the right way, so that's a big joy, because he's getting this his atonement and he's going to his place in heavens, and that's good. So when you have someone that he left this world and he didn't do it right, so that's sad. That he had this opportunity coming to him and he didn't do it right. So that's sad. But someone that he died and it was done correctly with the right intention, and okay, there's a whole like thing that saying Shema Yisrael, whatever. I'm not going into that, but just saying as a note that whatever we do, also the tshuva, also Yom Kippur, all of that is really preparation for the time that we have to leave this world. And whenever it comes, it comes. It's not something to be scared about. Just we have to be ready for that. It can be any time, and we have to prepare ourselves to know those concepts, to know the concept of tshuva, to know the concept of Kabbalah Malchut Shamayim, accepting the yoke of heaven upon us. And when we have that done correctly, so that's the biggest privilege. So another point about tshuva that is important for Yom Kippur is that a person cannot regret something that he knows that he is continuing to do. Yeah. For example, let's say someone, I'll say something that is very, very neutral, but obviously you understand where I'm going with it. Let's say someone, you have a certain lust of eating something that is not kosher. Fine. So comes Yom Kippur and he wants to do tshuva. But he knows that the next day after Yom Kippur he's going to go again to eat this non-kosher food, because he didn't get over his lust. So what does he do then? Can he do tshuva when he knows that he continues to eat this non-kosher food? So that's a real problem. The Rambam calls it tovel v'sheretz be'ado. It's like he's going into the mikveh, but he's holding the source of the impurity. So even though he's like dunked into the mikveh hundreds of times, but he stays impure, because he's holding something that is not pure, that is impure himself with it. So that's a big issue. Okay, so one of the preparations that we have to go through for Yom Kippur is to get ourselves into the mood, to be ready to let go of all of those different desires that we know that are wrong. Okay, and that's very difficult, obviously. When a person identifies himself with those desires, I ask the person, who are you? So he gives me like a whole list of desires. I like to do this, I like to do that, I like to eat this, I like to eat that. That's who you are. That's it. That's who you are. That's the essence of your being. Those desires? Obviously not, right? But most of the people in the world, they got to identify themselves with the desires that they had. and they invest a lot of time to make their desires to be special and unique, different than everybody else, to make sure that they are special, But that's so to be able to let go of the desires, one of the most important things is to re-identify yourself for yourself, to know who you really are. If you have identity that is not your desires, then you can let go of the desires. As long as your identity is your desires, you cannot let go of it, because you cannot live yourself without identity. That's not possible. Everybody needs identity, okay? And your identity is not your social number. That's your ID number. That's not identity. Your name is not enough. Yeah. So that's a big thing, and that's a lot of what I'm dealing with in the practice of the Kabbalistic meditations, is to give ourselves our value that is nothing to do with lust and desires of this world. Yeah. If you understand that you have identity and you have value that is not measured in this world measurements. Yeah, it's not about how much money you have. It's not about how many traveling you did. It's not about how many times you ate pizza. It's not how, and so on and so forth. It's not about this. Nothing to do with those things. So then you get to re-identify yourself with your real identity, which is your soul, your neshama, and that gives you the freedom to let go of the lust and desires. And then, when you get that, so then you can do tshuva, because then you let go of the impurity, and then when you go into the mikvah of Yom Kippur, you get your purification. So those steps are very, very important, very crucial. And okay, Baruch Hashem. So let's close the mark. Let's summarize. What is the steps that we have to do as preparation for Yom Kippur? And bli neder, I hope that we'll have another opportunity tomorrow to continue with it. But for now, so the first thing is to understand the meaning of whatever it is that we did wrong, whatever it is that we're doing wrong. To understand the meaning of that gives us the benefit of letting go of it. Okay? But once again, we cannot let go of it unless we understand that this is not who we are. Okay? Person that he doesn't have identity, it's almost impossible that he will give up on his lust and desires. Now, I want to add something. We didn't discuss it, but many people right now, like a couple of days before Yom Kippur, it won't be enough time for them to get to that point of re-identify themselves for themselves, who they really are. And then the question will be, so now what? I'm not there. So how can I let go of those desires? So my answer to a person like that will be, you can tell Hashem, I want to let go of this desire. I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I'm able to let go of it yet. But I want to let go of it. I understand that it's something that is negative for me, and I want to get rid of it. Bezrat Hashem give me the strength to let go of it. And that's also meaningful. Okay? If you want to let go of the desire, so in a certain way, it's like you let go of it. Okay? If you accept on yourself that you won't do it, as much as you can, you avoid it, as much as Hashem will allow you, if that's what you're able to do, that's also something. That's also value. Okay, that will give also a certain tikkun. The real problem is when someone he doesn't want to let go. But if someone he wants to let go, even though he didn't let go yet, he did the major tikkun of the will, of the desire. Okay, that's the okay. Maybe tomorrow we'll speak about the different levels of okay, I'll say it now like short, and Bli Neder tomorrow we'll go into details. So you have the physical act. You have the speech that comes with the act. You have the intention of the act. You have the thoughts that are within the intention, and the highest one is the desire, the will, ratzon. Desire is different than ratzon. Ratzon is will, the will of the person. So to get to the level of the will, the tikkun of the will, this is really the highest. Okay. But to start the tikkun, you can start it there. You can start it there, and then you can go down and start from the bottom and climb up again. Bli Neder tomorrow we'll go into details with that. So you have that part of regret and letting go. Okay? And within regret, you have the conscious of what is the meaning of it, and within letting go, you have the re-identify yourself. And when you have the regret and letting go, and you confess for that, which is the verbal part, that's basically the obligation of tshuva for Yom Kippur, according to the halachot tshuva of the Rambam. Okay? That's in Hebrew we say that charata, azivat hachet, vevidui. Okay? Charata is the regret, azivat hachet is to let go of the sin, and vidui is to confess. So this is the three parts. So I added into that for regret you need to have the understanding, the consciousness of what does it mean, those negative things, negative acts. Within the letting go, you need to have something that comes instead, which is your real identity, to identify yourself as a soul, not as a physical body with all kinds of desires. And within the confession, within the words, you have to understand what you're saying. So to learn, to prepare yourself in learning, and to know what is the word that you're saying out. So if you have those three parts with the background that I added for Yom Kippur, that will be the right experience that what you want to have in Yom Kippur. Obviously there is so many other meditations and all kinds of for the meditation.
מדיטציה?
There is כוונות. הדרך שאני מתרגם כוונות לאנגלית זה meditation. There is a lot of meditations for Yom Kippur, for like all of the prayers and all kinds of spiritual meanings according to the Arizal, but right now we're not in the Kabbalah class, so I'm not going there. But I'm just saying that just to know that there is a whole world like that itself is a source of inspiration, I believe. So even if you're not there to do to apply those meditations, to think about it, that there is so much behind every word that you say in the Siddur, it's also something to give it value, to give it like it's so valuable, it's so important. Each word is like another bead in this jewel that is like so beautiful. And people are taking like the fast of Yom Kippur as if it's like the end of the world, like fast of 24 hours. And they're missing out like the whole beauty of Yom Kippur. Oh, I don't know, hate it, try to avoid it, run away, sleep the whole day, all kinds of different things, but there's so much potential in Yom Kippur. It's one of the most beautiful days that there is in all of the year. So if you do the right preparation and you're coming with the right understanding, so it can be a very, very uplifting experience, and it can enlighten your life, your year tremendously. So it's definitely worth it. You put in the effort, in the preparation, in the prayers of Yom Kippur, as much as you can. Try to be focused, connect with Hashem, try to put the heart in every word as much as you can, your understanding, and I'm sure that if you do it, when you're coming out of Yom Kippur, you'll feel very, very different than what you feel now with yourself. B'ezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.